And it'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. First and foremost, we will extend to each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively our deepest appreciation at the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission from our reality to yours in this way. Each and every time you afford us the opportunity to interact with all of you, you expand our awareness of all the ways that creation has of expressing itself. And so we thank you for the gift of allowing us to experience that expansion of the multidimensional crystal of creation. We would like to begin this particular transmission in the following way. You have been discussing for quite some time in your age of awareness, your age of cosmic expansion, the idea of dealing with balancing out polarity. You have experienced the idea of great polarity in your reality experience, and you understand that by balancing it out, you can allow yourself the opportunity to mitigate the effects of the negative side and give yourself the freedom to choose what you prefer from the positive side, unless, of course, you prefer the negative side, which many of you are saying you don't. But nevertheless, the idea is that balancing it all out will allow you to choose consciously and intentionally what you prefer. Now, the idea is that you have been thinking about this idea for a long time as polarity. But as many people are starting to realize, it really isn't the idea of polarity that is the nature of existence. The nature of existence is really a trinity. You have expressed this in a number of ways. The idea is that the balance point in the center is the third point. And the idea is that without that third point, without that trinity, without that balance point, then you are left dealing with the idea of polarity and all of the different kinds of experiences you have had within that particular domain. But if you are allowing yourself finally to recognize creation not just as a polarity, not just as a duality, but as a trinity, and you begin to allow yourself to awaken from that center point, which is where you really exist, in the here and now, in the present, in the center, then it is much easier to deal with the idea of the polarity of positive and negative on either side of that central third balance point, and you can allow yourself to lessen the effects that all of them have. You can neutralize all situations much more easily, and when they are all equally valid, when they are all equally neutral, then you can find that you have the ability to more effortlessly choose what you prefer without invalidating what you don't prefer. Remember that even negativity serves you in positive ways if you allow it to. Many people on your planet, because of the way they have been brought up, the way they have been taught to think, have a difficult time finding some of the positive ideas and applying them in their lives. Well, sometimes, because you're all very clever, you will go about it the opposite way. You will attract into your life something that is exactly the opposite of what you prefer in order to have a comparison so that by seeing what you don't prefer so strongly, it makes it that much clearer what you do prefer. And thus you can use negative reality in a positive way by allowing it to remind you that that's not what you prefer so strongly that it finally allows you to move in the direction that you do prefer. In some ways, we have referred to this in the past as the rubber band analogy. You know that if you have a rubber band and you pull it back and pull it back and pull it back, the farther you pull it back, then of course once you let it go, it will snap that much farther and that much faster onto the other side. Well, you've been dealing with the idea of negativity for so long, with darkness for so long, so deeply, so profoundly, and you have pulled that rubber band back into the darkness so far. The good news is that when you finally let that go, you will snap that much farther, that much faster into the light. And that's what acceleration is all about. That's why it happens. So in a sense, again, you can see there are ways in which the idea of having explored negativity, once you let it go, can actually propel you and accelerate you in the direction of the light, in the direction of your true self, and allow you to experience all the fruits and the benefits of that release. Does this make sense to you? All right. So the idea, as you have labeled it, is that this is a time of what you have called cosmic awakening. What does that mean? All right, well, we'll tell you, thank you. The idea from our perspective is that you are awakening into the understanding that you are the cosmos. You are all that is. The idea of ascension, the idea of acceleration, the idea of consciousness expansion is, in a sense, at least from one perspective, the realization that you actually are the dimension of reality you previously thought you existed in. I'll repeat that. It's an awakening into the awareness that what you have called physical reality is not something that exists outside of you, it exists within you. It's your construction, your illusion, your projection, your creation in order to have a certain experience that you call space-time reality, in order to experience the idea of change, of self-discovery. Because if you exist in a timeless state, there is no change in a timeless state. If you want to experience a new perspective of yourself, you have to create the idea of forgetting who you are in a linear space-time framework in order to have the experience of remembering who you are from a different perspective, of discovering yourself anew from a new perspective. Because you see, the framework of existence, the structure of existence never changes. It's the perspective of the structure that changes, and the perspectives are infinite. And that new perspective, that new discovery, that new self-awareness from a new point of view, that's what expands creation forever and ever and ever, is that it sees itself from a different point of view over and over and over and over and over and over again, infinitely, infinitely, infinitely. But you have a simple structure to work with, and it is those foundational elements, that simple structure, that we also wish to impart to you so that you can understand how to use the structure to your advantage, how to understand clearly, how to see clearly what that framework is, so as to know, to use it to guide you in the direction that you really prefer. Because it really is very fundamentally simple. It really isn't complicated at all. And once you understand how simple it is and render everything down to that simple understanding, then from that simple understanding, you can create an infinitely complex and rich experience without it necessarily being negatively complicated. So the idea is to, again, have that paradoxical balancing of the simplicity and the richly complex, but in a way that serves you, in a way that's aligned with the vibration of your true self, so that you can experience the path you chose in life in the smoothest possible way, in the joyful way, in the most positive, constructive, ecstatic, passionate way that you possibly can. Does that make sense? All right. And again, please remember, these are not just nice ideas. These are not just nice sayings. What we are actually discussing here is physics, vibrational energy physics. It's the law. There are only, from our discovery, from our point of view, there are only 5 laws in existence. Number 1, you exist. You can't do anything about that. You will never change that. You cannot become non-existent. Why? Because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. So you cannot become non-existent if you exist. It's the only quality you have fundamentally. So you'll never change that. Law number 2, everything is here and now. Law number 3, the one is the all are the one. Number 4, what you put out is what you get back. Number 5, everything changes except the first 4 laws. And that's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. That's the structure, that's the framework, and every single experience you have ever had, are having now, or will ever have, in this reality or any dimension of any reality or any civilization whatsoever, will be some combination of those 5 laws, and that's it. So the rest of it, as you say in your language, is your ball game. It's up to you to use those 5 laws in whatever way, shape, or form, to paint the picture in whatever way, shape, or form is most representative of the vibration of your unique perspective of all that is, because each and every one of you, each and every one of us, each and every being in existence is simply another way that all that is has of seeing and experiencing itself. So value your uniqueness. Validate your individuality. Many people on your planet have for a long time been under the impression that the idea of unity comes from homogeneousness, from all being the same, nothing could be further from the truth. It is the true validation of every single individual that creates harmony and synchronicity and allows you to truly function as a unit. Thus, then, you retain your individuality, you retain your unique perspective and energy, while at the same time, because you are true to the unique vibration you are, you harmoniously and automatically fit with every other being also being true to themselves, in much the same way that you have a picture puzzle made of all these different pieces, and each piece is a unique shape. If each one of those shapes tried to be a shape it is not, it would not fit, and it would not allow the picture, the whole picture, to be formed. The only way the entire picture is formed is by each piece being exactly what it is, which means it fits perfectly with all the other pieces, and thus then creates the whole picture that can then support all the individual pieces that have made the picture up. That's how it works. So validate your uniqueness, and you will be yourself, and in being yourself, you will support the unique perspective that all that is created you to be. If all that is didn't think that your unique perspective was necessary in order for it to be complete, you wouldn't exist. Trust me, it doesn't make mistakes. So if you exist, all that is needs you to exist, because without you, all that is would not be all that is. It would be all that is except you. And that's not all that is. So self-validation, self-deservability, self-worth, and the expression in joy, in excitement of your unique self is the key. As we have said many times, and we will probably say again when we answer some of your questions, the only real formula that it comes down to is this. Every single moment that you can. Now, remember, this is actually a vibrational formula, not just a nice saying. Every single moment that you can, act to the best of your ability on whatever contains the highest amount of your excitement, joy, love, creativity, and passion, to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further. And do that and keep doing that, no matter how it looks, no matter what form it comes in, with absolutely zero assumption, insistence, or expectation as to what the outcome of that action ought to be. That's it. That's the formula. And if you just do that every moment that you can, I guarantee that when you get in that flow, it will lead you where you need to be led. You'll wind up exactly where you need to be, when you need to be there, with whom you need to be. And it will allow an explosion of ecstatic synchronicity in your life and create the effortless and joyful experience that you all say you desire. And it really is that simple as acting on that formula and knowing that if you do, you are using the basic structure of existence, and thus then it will support you in that positive experience in exactly the same way it has always supported you in any negative experience you chose to buy into as well. You see, you are free to choose. In a paradoxical way, the proof that you are ultimately supported is that you're actually capable of believing that you're not supported. You are so unconditionally loved and so unconditionally supported, you are allowed to believe you are not loved and not supported. That's how supported you are. So anytime you experience the idea, I'm not supported, I'm not loved, stop and take a moment to remember that the only way you could actually have that illusionary experience is if you were actually supported in your belief that that's true, which automatically means you're supported, you're loved. So why not be supported in what you prefer to be instead of being supported in what you don't? Why not? That's the ultimate question. Now then, while you're letting all that sink in, we will once again extend to you our deep appreciation and ask, in return for the gift that you are giving us, how may we serve you now through your questions and dialogue? If you have a question, raise your hand. You will be called on. We will interact. Thank you. you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we will take this opportunity, first of all, to thank each and every one of you for allowing this transmission to occur through this particular window and in this particular method at this time. Once again, each and every time, your civilization allows our civilization to communicate with you in this manner. It affords us an opportunity to experience, through each and every one of you, another aspect, another facet of the infinite. And this expands our understanding of all the different ways that creation can present itself. And so we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following brief ideas to lay a little bit of what you call a foundation or a groundwork for the primary principles that will generally be contained in almost every subject that we will discuss this day of your time. So, many of you have heard us talk about certain tools, certain states of being, certain states of mind that will allow you to understand who and what you are as a person, as a being, as a personality, a little bit more clearly. For it is in understanding the structure and the nature of yourself as a person and as a being that will allow you to make changes, make shifts in your reality, in the manner that you desire, in the manner that you prefer, more effortlessly, with the idea of less pain, more joy. These ideas now are paramount for what you call this age of transition, this age of awareness on your planet, as you have named it, as you have deemed it. And thus we are very happy to help, to assist in presenting concepts, tools that are handy, that you can use very easily, so that when applying them, you can see the results in yourselves and in your physical reality relatively quickly. The idea, first and foremost, of course, always begins with self-valuation. We understand from our experience with many of you that one of the most difficult things that many of you now have to do on your planet is learn to value yourselves. Because for thousands upon thousands of your years, you have been taught, because you have forgotten your connection to the infinite, you have been taught to think of yourselves as less than worthy, as undeserving, as possessing little or no value, and without an understanding of your worth, without an understanding of your value, no tool we would share with you will really be effective. Only when you begin to learn and behave and hold true that you are a worthwhile aspect of the infinite, that you are a beautiful, unconditionally loved and supported aspect of creation, and hold yourself in the same value that the creation holds you in, only really then will the tools be effective in the strongest way possible. This only makes sense, for the tools will only be as strong and as powerful as the energy you give them, because the energy comes from you, through you. Therefore, you are the ones that determine the efficacy of the tools. They do not really have the ability to work of and by themselves, because they draw their energy from you. They draw their realization capability from you. So let us briefly lay down a little bit as an outline of these ideas, so that we will understand when questions come what we are all talking about, and we'll have something to refer back to as a base point, a baseline. First and foremost, as we have said, self-valuation. From there comes the understanding of what it means to be a personality structure. Personality structure, very briefly, in recap for some of you, in newness for others, is based on three things, three principles. Your personality is an artificial construct. Doesn't mean it isn't natural, but it is a type of mask that is built or created or fabricated from three ideas: belief systems, emotions, and behavior. You can understand the analogy of belief systems as being like blueprints of a building. Emotions are the builders, the activation principles and energies that get the building built. The behavior is the building materials, the thoughts and actions that you do. So, you can instantly understand that
the nature of the blueprint, the clarity of the design, will determine the ultimate product, and the nature of the builders will determine the quality of the product, and the nature of the building materials will determine the quality of the final building. When those three things are in alignment, you can understand that your reality will reflect the idea of a strong structure, a strong reality that is stable in that way. But if either your belief, blueprint, your emotional builder, or your behavior, building materials, are somehow lacking or out of balance in the idea of self-worth and self-valuation, and are not aligned with the other sides of the three-sided prism, then of course it would be obvious that your building would be, as you would say in your language, a little bit wonky. So, this whole idea is to help clarify what those three components really are all about, and how to maintain them and bring them back into balance. Now, also, it takes an understanding that physical reality is really just a mirror, and it can only reflect what you put out. There are really only 4 laws in creation that allow you to experience everything that you experience. Law number 1 is that you exist. Can't do much about that. Now, when we talk, first of all, about laws, we're not talking about the type of laws that you have on your planet that are, in that sense, arbitrary rules and regulations that can be broken or changed or rewritten or ignored. But the idea is even beyond what many of you call laws of physics, because even some of these are only germane to your particular universal reality, and in other dimensions, many of the so-called laws that you have labeled do not really apply. We are talking about real laws, because real laws cannot be broken. Cannot be broken. It is impossible. And it is these 4 laws that give structure to all of creation. So, as we have said, law number 1, you exist. And what that actually means, when taken out to its ultimate logical understanding, is that if you exist now, you always will. And you always have. Therefore, you may change form, but you will always exist in some way, shape, or form. Because isness is the only quality that existence has. It does not know how to become non-existence. Non-existence is already full of all the things that will never exist, and there is no room in non-existence for that which does exist. That which exists only has one quality, to be. And thus, that is the only thing it will always be. So if you do exist, you always will. So, relax. Law number 2. The one is the all, and the all are the one. And this simply means that all of the pieces together form the one. And the one is the one, but knows itself simultaneously as all the pieces. What this means is that creation is not separate from the Creator, but is made of the Creator, and that there is no outside to it. Everything that is, every discrete person, place, thing, every discrete concept, every discrete part is a part of one same whole, and also, holographically, every single part is the whole, expressing itself as a part of the whole. So the second law, the one is all, the all are one. Law 3, what you put out is what you get back. Very simple. The energy you give off, based on your beliefs, your emotions, your behaviors, the vibrational frequency you give off is what determines the kind of reality experience you have. Because physical reality doesn't exist except as a reflection of what you strongly believe is true for you. That is all physical reality is. It is literally like a mirror. If you are looking in a mirror and you see your face with a frown on it, you know that you don't go over to the mirror and try to force the reflection to smile. You know that if you want to see the reflection smile, you must smile first. There is no way to change the reflection without you smiling first. But you can also conversely understand that when you decide to smile, the reflection has no choice but to return the smile, because it doesn't have a mind of its own. So the idea to understand is that physical reality very much is really like a mirror. It will not change until you do first. But if you do, it has no choice but to follow suit, because it is only a reflection of what you have put out. Law number 4. Change is the only constant, and everything changes except the first 3 laws. That is it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Every experience you have ever had, are having now, or will ever have, is based on a combination of these 4 laws to varying degrees. That's it. Now, the idea to understand, again, is that when you allow yourself to make choices, then your choices are based on your motivation. And your motivation is based on your definitions. This is the other way to explain the 3-part process. Your behavior, your choices, are based on your motivations, your emotions, which stem from your definitions, which are your beliefs. So anytime you are making a choice, it is always because you have been motivated to make that choice. Motivation only has 2 parts to it. This is all there is to motivation. You will always, in every single case, you will always choose what you perceive to be the choice that is closest to pleasure and furthest from pain. That's it. That is your entire motivational force. But notice I said you will choose what you perceive to be closest to pleasure and furthest from pain. And that's where definitions come in. Because only as you define what you believe to be pleasurable or painful will you then be motivated to make choices in accordance to that belief. So many times you may choose things that on one level you could say seem to be detrimental or destructive to you, but if you keep choosing it, that simply means that you must have a definition in your belief system somewhere that says that regardless of how painful it is to keep choosing that, you are somehow defining it as being less painful than making any other choice. That's why it is so powerful to get in touch with what your belief systems are, because when you find out why you may be defining something as pleasurable or painful, and you change the definition, you will instantly change your motivation, and you will instantly change the choices that you make, because you're all motivated people. None of you lack motivation. None of you lack trust. It's just a matter of where you are placing your trust and what definition you are motivated to act upon. That's all there is to it. This is how you simplify the things in your life, by understanding them from the base on up. From definition through motivation through choice. From belief through emotion through behavior. That's all there is to it, really. The final thing that we will be including in this toolkit is the idea that we have begun to talk about now recently that is above and beyond the idea of belief, and that is simple knowingness, which comes from the idea of surrender, letting go. Now, again, we understand that in many of the definitions many of you have on your planet regarding this word surrender, many of you will label this as a loss of some sort or a lack of control of some sort, and this is not the case. Surrender, if we may provide our definition, is the letting go of the concept of who you think you're supposed to be and actually being who you are. Because who you are is unlimited possibilities. And when you allow yourself to surrender to the idea and the experience that you were created in the image of the infinite, which means you are infinite possibilities too, then the physical reality, which is only a mirror, can then reflect those unlimited possibilities back to you in the synchronicities as they naturally unfold in your physical day-to-day life. So surrender is actually acceptance of your total self, not, in that sense, the forsaking of your total self, as many of you have been led to believe through the definitions that your world has provided you with that only serve to limit you. And this is what we want to share with you, and what we suggest you learn to give up are those limitations. So that is really what we are going to be discussing in all of these interactions. Are variations of those principles. It will usually all come down to that idea. And of course, it will usually also come down to one other principle that is all wrapped up in this, And that has to do with being your natural true self, which in many cases is simply another way of saying, follow your joy, follow your excitement to the best of your ability, because the sensation that you call joy, the sensation that you call excitement, the sensation that you call unconditional love is the frequency of energy that represents your natural, true, core, original self. So when you are acting on circumstances and opportunities that bring with them the highest level of this joy, the highest level of excitement, you are saying you have the faith to take the steps to act upon your true self, and in so doing, your physical reality, the mirror, will support you because it has no choice but to do so. These are the principles that comprise the toolkit of manifestation and change, and that's really all there is to it. You will see as we discuss the ideas that you wish to share this day of your time that almost everything you have to share will come down in one way, shape, or form to these ideas if they has to do with the idea of your own personal growth and your own personal life and the expression of who and what you are. So, with all of that in mind, we once again thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to receive the gift of this sharing from you. And in return for this gift, I ask you now, in what way may I and my world be of service to you? You may begin with sharing in any manner you so desire.
I will say I'll greet you this day of your time as you no time to exist.
皆さんが知っているように、この時間、自分で作っている時間ですけど、今日のご機嫌はいかがでしょう。
Before we begin this interaction this day of your time, allow me to remind you of a few things.
今日皆さんと話を始める前にいくつかのことを思い出してほしいと思います。
There will be in any of these interactions new energy that will be realized by many of you.
今日こういう交流をしているときにたくさんの新しいエネルギーがここにいる何人かの人たちに感じられると思います。
And you may find yourself making many recognitions and realizations and releasing.
そういうものを見て新しい、そういうものを感じて新しい認識、新しい気づき、そういうものがあると思います。
All of these things will occur at a natural and comfortable pace if you allow them to.
自分がそれを許してあげれば、自分に一番心地の良いペースでそれを自然に起こすことができます。
Any energy that you begin to feel, allow yourself first of all to remember you can handle it.
どんなエネルギーでも自分で感じ始めたとき、自分で思い出してください。自分にはこれに対処するだけの力があるんだということ。
You may feel many different things, but understand the universe never gives you more than you can handle.
必ず覚えておいてほしいのは、宇宙というものはあなたが対処できないものを与えることはないということです。
Never.
決してないんです。
Never.
決してないんです。
Never.
決してないんです。
And so therefore, if you feel that there is energy that is too strong for you,
ですから自分に対して強すぎるエネルギーが来てるなと感じたとき、
that feeling will usually be the product of your definition of the energy, not the universe's definition of the energy.
そういう時には自分で使っている定義づけを使っているんです。宇宙の定義づけは自分に来てるんでは、降りかかってるんではないんです。
So it is our suggestion that you allow yourself to breathe the energy through your body.
ですから私たちが進めることは、そのエネルギーを呼吸とともに体の中で流してあげてください。
In a relaxed and open manner, trusting in the positive nature of what you are experiencing.
リラックスして、そして自分が体験していることを肯定的に捉えることを決めて呼吸をしてください。
It is all right to feel a release. It is all right to feel great change going on within you.
自分の中でそういう解放感とか、自分の中のいろんな変化を感じるのは全くいいんです。
But simply remember that it is all the product of your choice to unfold as a positive and loving and serving individual.
ただ覚えておいてください。自分が、愛する、そしてみんなに奉仕する、そういうものの産物として今そういうエネルギーを感じることを自分が選択しているということです。
Therefore, do not fear, but be glad and feel gratitude towards the universe.
ですから恐れることなく宇宙に感謝を持ってそれを感じてあげてください。
And be glad that you are willing to discover more and more of who and what you are.
そして自分が誰であるか、自分はどんな存在であるかということを、こういうものを通しながら学んでいくということを選んでいることに感謝をしてください。
Remember that each and every individual is a unique construction.
一人一人というのは非常にユニークな存在なんです。構造を持っているんです。
And that the personality that you are is not really, fundamentally, who or what you are.
皆さんの持っている性格、個性というのが基本的にあなたは誰であるかということを表すのではありません。
But only a temporary manifestation reflecting whatever particular idea you are working through at this particular moment.
その瞬間にあなたが何を今学ぼうとしているか、一番自分の持っているそういう強いものが性格として出ています。
Therefore, as you change the idea of yourself, you change the person that you are literally.
ですから自分の中に持っている考え、観念を変えると自分という人間が全く変わります。文字通り変わるんです。
And therefore, by the time this interaction is over with today, you will not be the same people you were when you walked in. Literally.
ですから今日皆さんがここに入ってきた時とそれから今日出ていく時、文字通り全く違う人間になっています。
No matter how you think you still look in the mirror, you're not going to be the same people because outside looks is simply an illusion.
鏡の中でどういうふうに見えていても、皆さんは全く違う人間になっています。この外観というのは全く幻想なんです。
If you do change yourself sufficiently, you can begin to change your outside looks.
自分の中を十分に変化し始めたとき、自分の中が十分に変化し始めたとき、外も変わってきます。
That may simply happen automatically for some of you over a period of time.
人によってはそれが自然に自動的にある期間をかけて起こります。
But your civilization is still very focused in space and time, and therefore those changes take a period of time to occur.
皆さんのこの社会というのはまだ時間と空間に非常に固着しています。執着しています。ですから実際に変化が体のレベルで起きるのには時間がかかったりします。
Maintaining a similar outward appearance from moment to moment is simply your way of establishing continuity so you can recognize each other.
皆さんが自分の顔や何かこの外側をずっと毎春毎春同じように見ていくのは自分の中で継続性を連続性をつけておきたいからなんです。
When your civilization no longer looks at the exterior for recognition, but the interior for recognition, it will not matter what the exterior looks like.
外側がどうであるかより内側の認識に目を向け始めると、もっと向け始めると外が毎春毎春変わっても気にならなくなります。
And no matter how drastically you change, each and every one of you as an individual will always maintain your signature vibration.
そして毎春毎春自分がどのぐらい外が変わったとしても劇的に変わったとしても自分のシグネチャーバイブレーション、自分の固有周波数というものは常に保つことができます。
It is by the signature vibration that your soul is recognized no matter what changes occur in the personality.
性格の部分でどれだけ変化をしても自分の固有周波数が魂というものを表現しています。
To also remember that even though your exterior physical body may not drastically change, that does not mean that drastic changes cannot occur in your persona.
それと同時に外側は全く変わってないとしても自分の中が変わってそして自分の性格が変わっているということは大いにあり得ます。
If you desire to be different than you are and you act in a different way, you will be a different person and you will have a different life.
自分が変わることを望み、どういうふうに変わったかそのように行動しているとき、自分の人生が実際に変わります。
We thank you for expressing the boldness and the conviction to be willing to change in beautiful ways.
非常に美しい方法で自分が変わることを信念を持ってやってくれてどうもありがとう。
So, you want to know about creative relationships, eh?
それでは皆さんクリエイティブリレーションシップ、創造的な人間関係を知りたいんですね。
Well, you are in for a workout today.
皆さん運動の準備はできてますか？ Bashar, we have a question
Yes.
beforehand.
But let us lay down the foundation that we will still tie in the question to the idea of relationships by beginning with your relationship to the entire earth and the changes that are going on therein.
質問に入る前に先ほど質問があると言いましたけどその前にどうせ質問の方にもつながっていくまずその前段階をお話したいと思います。今地球全体で起こっている人間関係はその他に関連することです。
Therefore, the question may now be asked.
それではちょっと話が違いますけど質問を今してもらいましょう。 Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to ask you a question.
We thank you for sharing what is in your heart.
あなたのハートの中にあるものをみんなと分かち合ってくれてどうもありがとう。
私はアストロロジャーなんですけれども、
I'm an astrologer.
All right.
はい。
バシャールの3月5日のワークショップの後に、日本人の300から500以上のチャートに異常な状態があるということが発見されたんですね。
After your workshop on the March 3rd, from the charts of Japanese people, 300 to 500 people's charts, there was a significant change.
Yes.
どんなもんでしょう。
89年から90年にかけて大きな社会変動とか天変地異とかそういうようなことが観察されるんですけれども、
I observed that there'll be a big change from 89年から90年 from 89 to 90 on a vast level.
Yes.
はい。
それについて2つほどサジェッションをいただければと思いますけれども、
I'd like to ask you for a couple of suggestions for that.
All right. Suggestions in what way?
どういう形でサジェッションすればよろしいでしょうか。
もしそういうような大変な社会変動とか天変地異の異変が起きる場合に、社会やみんなのために何かしたいと思う人はどのような行動をすればいいかというのが一つ目です。
One thing is, if that kind of vast social change takes place, or vast, big crisis occurs, for people, those of people who wants to serve the society, what can they do?
First of all, you can understand that all transformation can be viewed in either a positive or a negative way.
最初に分かってほしいのは、理解していただきたいのは、すべての変化というもの、変革というものは、肯定的にも否定的にも見ることができるということです。
Assuming that transformation on that scale has to be destructive will usually attract an individual into a destructive transformation.
そういうものが、そういう変革というものが、破壊的な形で起きなければいけないと思っているときには、そういう過程をしていると、だんだんそっちの方に流れていきます。
But approaching it with the attitude that that kind of transformation is simply destructurizing can allow it to be a positive change.
そういう変革が今までできたものが、分解して新しいものができるというような肯定的な見方をすることができます。そうすると肯定的な方に働いていきます。
Just because there is an indication of vast changes taking place in your society does not in and of itself indicate how the individuals must experience that change.
大きな変化があるとしても、その個人がそれをどういうふうに体験するかということはまた違うことです。
Remember that whatever is your strongest vibration is the reality you experience.
思い出してください。自分の持っているバイブレーション、波動があなたの、体験するものなんです。
A vibration of uncertainty, doubt, and fear will usually attract a negative reality to the individual.
不安とか、それから疑い、そういうものを自分で持っているとき、そういう波動というのは恐れを呼びます。
But a vibration of service, love, light, joy, and ecstasy will usually attract an individual to the positive side of the transformation.
愛とか、それから奉仕、それから喜び、そういうものを持っていると、その人をそういう変革の時にも肯定的な方に運んでくれます。
Now there may be isolated areas upon your planet that will experience the transformation in negative ways, both emotionally and physically.
地球上でどこかの孤立した部分では、ある一部では、そういう変革を非常に否定的に、感情的にもそれから他の意味でも否定的に体験するかもしれません。
There might be isolated pockets that still experience the transformation in the form you would call catastrophe.
皆さんがカタストロフィー、災害という形でそういう一部が未だに否定的に通り過ぎなければいけないかもしれません。
However, even within those areas, an individual whose vibration is of a positive nature will not be negatively affected in any way.
そういう部分の中でさえ、そういう一部の地域の中でさえ、個人個人が自分が肯定的なものを見ていれば、そういう否定的な影響のされ方はしないんです。
Therefore, it is our suggestion and our preference to look at this vast change coming up in a positive way to ensure positive results.
ですから、そういう大きな変革が今来ているとき、それを私たちがサジェッションしたいことは肯定的に見てほしいということです。
Now, much of what will be happening, especially between your 1990 and 1994, is as follows as we perceive your energy now.
私たちが皆さんの今エネルギーを感じながら見ているところでは、90年から94年、1990年から94年の間に起きることはこんなことです。
Vast new recognitions will have ignited throughout the consciousness of your planet regarding social unity.
皆さんの意識が、そして非常に大きな意識の部分が、社会的な統一性、そういうものに気がつき始めます。
And vast new recognitions regarding expressing individuality.
自分の個性というものを非常に外に表明する、そういう新しい認識があります。
And vast new recognitions regarding the existence of our extraterrestrial societies.
それと同時に地球外惑星のそういう存在、そういうものに対しての新しい認識が出てきます。
You see, many of your governments have known for many years of our existence, but have suppressed the information.
皆さんの地球上の政府のたくさんの政府が我々の存在に気がついています。そしていろいろな情報を持っています。
Between what you call your 1990 and 1994, much of that information will be realized by the public.
そして90年から94年のそのぐらいの間にそういう政府が持っているいろんな情報が今度は公共の場に出されます。そして公共の場で認識されます。
This will ignite vast changes in how you perceive the universe as a society.
それによってこの社会として宇宙をだいぶ変えていきます。
But we do not say this to focus you upon us. We say this to focus you upon yourselves.
でもこういうことを言って我々の方に焦点を合わせてほしいんではないんです。自分自身に焦点を合わせてほしいんです。
Simply that many individuals will finally realize that they are now needed to take full responsibility for their lives rather than giving it away for someone else to run.
今たくさんの人たちがこういうことを要求されています。自分で自分の人生に責任を持つということです。よその人たちに自分の人生を走らせる、任せるんではなくて、自分で自分の行動に責任を取るということを今、要求されています。
This does not have to translate into what you would call anarchy.
だからといって、みんなを言うことを聞かせなければいけないということではないんですね。
But the idea is that from this point forward, the energy of your society can make changes in the following way.
わがままになるということではないんですけど、次のような形で変革を起こしていくことができます。
What you have referred to as the governments of your planet who have ruled you in the past can now learn to serve you.
今まで自分たちが支配されてきたと思うような政府が今度は皆さんに奉仕をすることができます。
The more lines of communication that are open to them to allow them to understand that it is not a matter of losing power but gaining self-empowerment will make the transition much easier.
こういういろいろなことが起きているとき、自分の力を失うのではなくて、自分に力を取り戻すことによって、自分の中に力を取り戻すことによって変革が簡単に起きることができます。
Remember that when you talk about social and economic and political change, you are those institutions.
政治、経済、そして社会的な変化ということを話すとき、自分もその一部だということを忘れないでください。
Taking responsibility means acting as the full individual that you are, and in being of service, creating the unity of society that you desire.
自分の責任を持つということは自分の行動に責任を持つ。そして自分の社会に対して何か行動を起こすということです。それに奉仕できるように。
From your year 1990 to your year 2011, there will be much restructuring of your society.
皆さんの時間で1990年から2011年まで社会的な再構成が行われます。
Your entire planet.
地球全体の話です。
And much blending going on between all the cultures on your planet.
そしてたくさんの地球上の文化が混ざり合ってきます。
At first, there may seem from some individuals to be more animosity, violence, violent intentions.
いろいろな場所でたくさんの暴力的な行為が起きるかもしれません。
But this will eventually balance out as unconditional love smooths the way.
でもそういうものも最後にはバランスが取れます。皆さんの無条件の愛がだんだんそれをスムーズにしていきます。
There will be especially another very strong social change in approximately your year 1997 as well.
そして1997年にもう一つ大きな変化があります。
And by your year of 2013, your society will have finally laid the foundations for a unified peace.
2013?
2013.
2013. Thank you. 2013年までこの地球上が一つとなったそういう世の中になります。
However, all of these are sensings that we perceive to exist in your energy now.
今言ったことはでもすべて今皆さんのエネルギーを感じて言えることです。
So let us say a few words about the idea of prediction.
ですから予言ということについてここでいくつか話をしたいと思います。
From our point of view, there really is no such thing as a prediction of the future.
我々の目からすると未来に対しての予言ということは本当はありえません。
There are sensings made in various ways of the energy that exists at the time the sensing is made.
その今みたいにそのエネルギーを感じているとき、この感じをつかむことはあります。
No one senses the future. You sense the present, which leads you to a probable future.
誰も未来を感知することはできないんです。現在のエネルギーを感じて未来の可能性を感知することはできます。
Your sensing of the present energy can lead you to conclude that unless the energy changes, this particular future is the most likely one to manifest.
ですから自分で何かそういうものを感知するとき、もしこのままエネルギーの状態が変わらなければ、こういうことが実際に起きてしまうだろうということは言えます。
Simply because it has the greatest deal of momentum or energy behind it, and therefore is unlikely to change direction.
そういうエネルギーに慣性があります。その慣性のままずっと行くとこんな方向に行くだろう。それは感知することができます。
However, this does not mean it cannot be changed, and it also does not mean that even if the general occurrence happens, that it must be experienced in any particular way.
だからといって変えられないということではありません。そしてそれと同時にそういうことが起きたとしても、それを同じようにある一定の方法で自分が体験しなければいけないということは全くありません。
If enough individuals become aware of exactly where the energy will lead them to what kind of a future, then they can decide to change that energy.
たくさんの人たちがこのままのエネルギーでいけばこういうふうになってしまうということを感じることができたら、変えることを、そのエネルギーを変えることができます。
Therefore, many so-called predictions actually render themselves obsolete by simply becoming known to the public.
ですから予言というものは公共的になったとき、みんなにそういうことを知らしめたとき、みんなが変えることができますから、それ自体予言の意味がなくなることがよくあります。
Therefore, remember that all predictions, no matter how they are made, are simply readings of the energy that exists now.
よく理解してください。予言というのはすべて今現在のエネルギーを読んでいるんです。
Therefore, when we speak of these changes in your upcoming years, we are talking about what we sense to be the most likely reality that seems unlikely to change in general concepts.
ですから今お話ししたようなことは私たちが現在皆さんの中に感じるエネルギーで、一般的に一番変化しにくいであろうというふうに感じたエネルギーをお話しただけです。
But how each and every individual experiences those changes will have to do with the vibration they choose to be, positive or negative.
ここにいる皆さんがそれを変えたいとき、自分のエネルギーを自分で選択してください。肯定的にするのか、否定的にするのか。
To put it very simply, if an individual chooses to wake up now, then they do not have to shake themselves awake.
こういうふうに言うことができます。もしここにいるすべての人が今自分で目を覚まそうということを決めれば、後で外から、肩をゆすられて目を覚まさせられる必要はないんです。
And allow me to remind each and every one of you that you chose to be born at this time because you knew it would be a very exciting time of transformation.
今ここに生まれてきている人たち、ちょうど変革の時代で非常にワクワクしたところ、興奮するところに生まれてきています。
Therefore, make the best of it and be of service by being the full individual you can be.
せっかくこんな楽しい時に生まれてきてるんですから、自分がなれるだけの自分、自分を 100% 生かしきって、そして楽しんでください。
By doing in your life what excites you the most.
自分が一番興奮することをやることによってそれができます。
Does this answer the question sufficiently?
どうでしょう？十分な答えになってるでしょうか？ Yes, thank you very much.
We thank you very much for your sharing and your service.
あなたのその分かち合い、そしてあなたの奉仕に、もう一度感謝したいと思います。どうもありがとう。
And now, let us begin the second phase of the idea of relationships.
それでは人間関係の第二段階について話します。
The relationship of you to yourself First of all,
一番最初に自分に対してのあなたの関係です。
because when you talk about creative relationships with other people, if the one you have with yourself is not creative, it is unlikely anyone else is going to experience it.
創造的な人間関係なんていうことを話しても、まず自分自身に対して創造的でなければ、誰と創造的になれるでしょう。
Are you all ready to be very bold?
皆さんは自分で大胆にいろんなことをやっていきたいですか？準備はできてますか
One individual is ready to be bold.
一人ですね。
Oh, thank you very much.
どうもありがとう。
Then we shall have a lot of fun.
それでは今日は楽しめそうです。
All of you now, relax.
それでは
Become comfortable.
リラックスして、居心地のいい姿勢になってください。
Close your eyes if you wish.
目を閉じたければ閉じてください。
And take 3 deep breaths.
そして3つ深呼吸をしてください。
As you breathe in an easy manner, do the following thing.
リラックスしながら呼吸をして次のことをやってください。
Imagine your body relaxing.
自分の体がリラックスしているところを想像してください。
Imagine a warm, golden red energy penetrating every cell of your body.
あったかくて赤くて、そして、そういう光が、あったかくて赤くて、そして金色の光が自分の体をずっと通り抜けているのを見てください。
Feel every muscle beginning to let go and soften.
一つ一つの筋肉が、いろんなしがみついているものを解放して柔らかくなってくるのを想像してください。
You may begin at your feet and allow the energy to work its way slowly up your legs.
足から始めてだんだんゆっくりと自分の足をそのリラックスした感じが上ってきます。
Just speak soothingly to all of the muscles in your body.
優しく自分の体の中の筋肉の一つ一つにお話をしてあげてください。
Allow the energy to move up your thighs and through your abdomen.
自分の太ももからお腹の部分までそういう感じが上ってくるのを許してあげてください。
Feel the energy moving up the musculature of your upper body and coursing down your arms to your very fingertips.
そういうエネルギーが今胸を上ってきて、そして腕から指先まで降りて行きます。
Let your shoulders relax.
肩もリラックスさせてあげてください。
Feel all the internal organs being bathed with warmth, relaxing warmth.
自分のお腹の中の内臓、いろいろな内臓があったかくリラックスしていくのを感じてください。
Feel your heart pumping warm blood through all portions of your body.
自分のハートが、自分の心臓がリラックスしながら優しく赤い血を体中に流しているのを見てください。
Feel your lungs continuing to breathe in a very easy, relaxed manner in and out very slowly.
自分の肺がリラックスした感じで呼吸を続けるのを感じてください。吐いて吸って、そして吐いて。
Feel the energy moving up your throat, relaxing your vocal cords and all the muscles in your neck and the bones.
エネルギーが喉を上ってきます。声帯をリラックスさせて、そしてそこにある筋肉、骨もリラックスさせて上がっていきます。
Feel your jaw muscle relax, allow your tongue to relax.
顎の筋肉がリラックスしてきます。下の筋肉がリラックスしてきます。それを感じてください。
Feel the warmth.
その温かさを感じてください。感じてください。
Feel the warmth in your sinuses and behind your eyes and penetrating your eyes.
鼻、そして鼻の後ろのある空洞、目の後ろ、そういうものがリラックスしていくのを感じていきます。
And all the way up and around your scalp to the top of your head.
自分の頭蓋骨、それを通ってさらに頭のてっぺんまでリラックスします。
And see the radiant golden red light radiating from you in your aura all around.
そして赤く黄金に輝いた光が自分のオーラが体中から輝き出しているのを感じてください。
And now, beginning in your heart area, begin to imagine a bright emerald green shining light.
そしたら今度は自分のハートから心臓からエメラルドのようなエメラルドグリーンの緑色の光が輝き出すのを見てください。
And feel all of the idea of the green light expanding throughout every cell in your body.
その緑色の光が自分の体の中の細胞の一つ一つを通って、そして広がっていくのを感じてください。
And now feel that all of your mentality, all of your thoughts are relaxing and blending with your body relaxation.
自分の意識が自分の体とリラックスしながら一つに混ざり合っていくのを感じてください。
Feel the vibrant richness of your connection with nature.
自然と一つにつながっていて優しく振動している、そんな自分を感じてください。
Feel your sensitivity and your intuition.
自分の感受性、そして自分の直感を感じてみてください。
And feel all of your worries and all of your cares melting away in the green light.
自分の心配だとか不安がその緑の光に溶けて消えていくのを見てください。
And now, from within the area of your third eye, between your two eyes, see a bright blue light.
それでは今度は内側から自分の第三の目のところ、おでこのところに青い光を見てください。
And feel your spirit rejoicing at the relaxation of your body and your mind.
体と意識がリラックスするにつれて非常な喜びが出てくるのを感じてください。
And feel the cooling, cleansing air that washes through your entire body.
静かな、そして涼しい空気が体中を冷ましてくるのを感じてください。
Feel yourself breathing as spirit.
自分自身が魂として呼吸しているのを感じてください。
And now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that no matter what your consciousness tells you, your spirit, your mind, and your body are one.
自分の意識がどんなことを言おうとも、自分の魂、そして意識、そして肉体は一つだということを感じてください。
And you are now in the appropriate state to pray and be heard.
今ちょうどお祈りをして、そしてその祈りが向こうに届くのにちょうどいい状態にいます。
And you are in the appropriate state to receive all the unconditional love you deserve.
それと同時にあなたが受け取る価値のある無限の愛、それを今受け取れる状態にあります。
Now feel a bright white light of ecstasy shining within you.
恍惚感に満ちた白い光があなたの中で光っているのを見てください。
Feel a radiant connection to all that is.
無限の絶対的な完全のその光を自分を感じてください。
You are bathed in the light of unconditional love.
今あなたは無限の愛の海の中にいます。
Take 3 deep breaths and enjoy it.
3つ大きな呼吸をしてそれを楽しんでください。
And now allow your